Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Today is December 30th, 2023. This is a sneak peek of assembling the Tree of Life blocks. We were not originally going to do a tutorial for the advanced blocks if you decided to make them, but this was a request from Jackie, and so I told Jackie I would do one for her. Jackie, if this is not helpful to you and you need a little bit more instruction, or anybody else needs some instruction on it, you can join one of the upcoming Zooms, and more detail will come out about that in the coming weeks. The Sew Along starts January 8th at 7 p.m. Central Time on Rita's Roost. And so most of the information about the upcoming weeks, the Zooms, will be announced there. And then there will be some announcements on my channel. I'm probably Mona's. Um, and you'll hear about it a few times on Rita's channel whenever she is live. Now, we do have a pattern that I will put the link in the description box that you can go ahead and get. We are doing this tutorial. All your HSTs have been made. Your fabric has been cut to size and squared to size. I will not be doing any sewing. We're just walking you through the assembly of this block. And we are going to start with page 2 of the pattern, the very first block that we are going to make one of. And it does call for 3 units of your eyepiece and 6 units of your HSTs that we have cut. Now, if you have not made your HSTs yet, if you're finding it a little difficult, there is a video that I released earlier that you can go ahead and watch, and you will be able to get the 32 HSTs that it makes. And actually, you're only using 30, but that video will make 32 of it. So we have our block eyes and our HSTs aligned exactly as it is in the picture, and take your time putting it together. Sometimes it gets confusing if you're tired, but take your time. If it helps to put it like I did on a darker background so you can see it a little and the spacing a little, that would be helpful. So essentially on that first unit, you just have a 9 patch. And we are going to sew it up like our traditional 9 patch, which is folding it over, and taking our 1/4 inch seam all the way down. When that has been completed, you take and add that final block, make your 1/4 inch seam, continuing with the other pieces. When you have completed that block, sewing all those blocks, you're going to open it up. You are going to press out, press in, press out. And that is just so your seams align nicely. And then you're going to take it, flip it up, do your 1/4 seam, open it up, and continue with your last row. So you can go ahead and pause now, and I will see you back in a second. Okay, so you are back. We have completed our block. Our block looks like this. Once it's all sewn together, our HST, this block has been trimmed and pressed. Okay, so your block should look like this with your line, with diagonally, and you just want to go ahead and check your HSTs. Make sure that you are looking at the pattern and that it is correct, because there's nothing more frustrating than assembling the final block and not having everything correct? And having to rip those seams out so that we can sew it again. Okay, so now for the next 2 blocks, and we're going to make 2 of these. So we'll need a total of 18 blocks, 9 blocks per unit. 7, 8, 9. I am just going to sample 1. We are going to align it just as it says in the pattern, making certain our blocks are all facing down. The color fabric is all facing down towards the left. Okay? And so you have another 9 patch. You have another 9 patch, and we are just going to repeat the same process that we did earlier on that first block. Going ahead and sewing it, sewing it, sewing it, taking your 1/4 inch seam, adding that block, continuing on, and then attaching your bottom rows to make a 9 patch block. And if you have to pin because these units are a little tiny, go ahead and feel free to pin. So if you want to go ahead, pause the video, take this to the sewing machine, sew it, iron it, and trim it up, and we will come right back. Okay, so per the instructions, we have 2 blocks that are exactly the same. There are 2 9 patches that are exactly the same. We are going to put that aside, and we are going to work on the next block where we are making 1. It is with fabric H. We need a fabric I. We need a fabric I, and we need 3 HSTs. It says to put your fabric H towards the top, your I right top right hand corner, and your HSTs with the print side facing the lower left. And so that is what it's going to look like. And what we're going to do is we are going to fold it over, take our 1/4 inch seam, open it up. Once it's done, fold it over, take our 1/4 inch seam. Once that unit is completed, you're going to fold this part over and take your 1/4 inch seam on the top, iron it out, trim it up, and I will see you right back. Okay, so this is what our unit H should look like. That is our unit 8, or that 3rd unit that we're making with our H block, our I block, and our 2 HSTs, and everything is all pressed and trimmed to size as is in the pattern. So we're going to go ahead and continue on with the next block. And the next block takes the same pieces. It's just laid out a little differently. So we are going to lay our H block down we are going to put our I block on the lower left-hand corner, and our HSTs are going to face the upper right-hand corner. If it's looking at you, it's going to face the upper right-hand corner. So your layout should look like this. Again, you're going to repeat that process of folding it over, taking your 1/4 inch seam, opening up, opening up, folding it over, taking your 1/4 inch seam. Once that's all connected, once that's all sewn and connected, then you are going to go ahead, take your H block, fold it over, take your 1/4 inch seam. You're going to press it out, trim it up, and we will be back to see you. Okay, for our next block, we are going to use our B block. We are going to use 2 G blocks. And on the G blocks, what I want you to do is go ahead and on the back side of the fabric, mark your fabric diagonally with your pen. Mark your front diagonally with your pen on both units. The first one, I want you to place it at the top right corner like this, and you are going to sew down on the line. You're going to sew down on the line. You are then going to cut away a 1/4 inch from that line, and it should look like this when you're done. You're going to repeat that process on the opposite side. You're going to sew on the line, cutting a 1/4 inch away from that line, opening it up, and pressing it out and sizing it as the pattern states. So I'll give you a minute to go ahead and do that. Okay, I'm glad you're back. On the top of page 3, we are now going to work with a fabric C. And we are going to do exactly the same thing. We are going to make a line diagonally on fabric C. We are going to place fabric C up in the corner, and it is going to overlap with what you've just sewn on fabric I. You're going to cut along there, or I'm sorry, what you've just sewn with fabric C. You're going to go ahead and sew along the line, sew on the line, cutting a 1/4 inch away, discarding the remaining piece. And when you open it up, your block should now look something like this. And you're going to give that block a nice good press and do a final piece. Okay. So I'll see you back here in a minute. Okay, so everything has been sewn, everything has been pressed, we've trimmed away, and now you have something that looks like an arrow. You have something that looks like an arrow, and this is going to be your middle block, and I'm going to put that away for now. The next blocks that we are going to do is we need 2 F's and 2 D's. two F's and two D's. The only difference with this one is the placement. So with our F, we are going to face it this way with on that first block, and then we are going to turn it sideways for the second block. We are going to take two letter D's, making a line diagonally as we did before. The first one we are going to position at the bottom left. The second one we are going to position at the top right corner. So it is going to look like this. Okay, that is the first letter F block on page 3. And again, you are going to sew. You are going to sew on that line, cutting a 1/4 inch away, discarding that, repeating the process with this up on the top left hand corner. And when you are done, you are going to open it up, give it a good press, trim it up, and we will be back to see you in a minute. Okay, so we are done, and we should have two blocks that look like, let me position this. So we have two blocks that look like this and this. You should have two pieces or two units that look like this. I'm going to put that to the side. And we are almost there. So now we are going to take a fabric C block and a fabric G block. On the fabric C block, we are once again going to be doing that diagonal line. Then we are going to place it on top block G, positioning it correctly. You are going to sew along that line. So on the line, cutting a 1/4 inch away, discarding the extra fabric, opening up, and then, well, you have another HST. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, give you a minute. You can pause the video, and I will see you back shortly. Okay, so we are back. And if I do not have the answer for you, I will find out. I'll find somebody who does and get that answer to you because we want you to participate. So now we are going to assemble our final block. The assembly is on the assembly information is on the bottom of page 3. So we are taking that first block that we made. We are taking that's the duplicate blocks or the mirrored blocks that we made on that second step with the 9 half square triangles. We are going to position it to the top with the print side on the bottom left, and On the second row, we are going to position it with the print side on the lower right. We are going to take one of our units, the first unit that we made, and we are going to position it on top per the directions, repeating the same on the side, and we're just building out our block. Then our middle block, that arrow is going to face, that point is going to connect with our very first block. Okay. Just as it states. And so what you should have is a 9 patch that should look something like this. If everything is laid out correctly, it should, and I'm trying to get everything in the camera as best I can where you can see it. So we have the first block we made, a block 2 that we made, or the 2 units. We've had the unit 3, unit 4, we made these blocks. We have this block here. We want to make sure that these blocks with the flip is facing the tree bark. Okay. So now what we are going to do is just assemble. We are just going to assemble this block. We're going to use the same method that we did before with our other 9 patches, turning it in, and turning it in. Taking our 1/4 inch seam, and I have not sewn this one together because right here, and where some people may have a little bit of a problem, is that your blocks are very small and they're close together and they intersect. So we're going to fold them together, and I am going to pin mine. Just like that. I'm going to pin mine just like that, making certain that it is correct. Okay. I'm going to sew these up, and I will see you in a bit. I'm going to let you have some music that we can listen to because I do not plan on editing this video. So let me have some music playing. I'm sorry, y'all, if you hear some noise in the background. My husband is going around killing flies. And here it is. Hopefully, everybody has had an opportunity, as you can see, because we all make mistakes. Mine did not align as closely as I would like to. I think it got off track a little. So I will be taking that off and resewing it. If you're happy with that there, it can look like a little knot in the tree. That it does not have to be perfect. You can leave it as is, but I will be undoing it. I will not be showing the back of my block, because the back of my block and the back of your block is your own business. So this is the tree of life. Very easy. A little more difficult when you're doing it on camera to get everything lined up properly. And like I said, I will go ahead and I'm going to unpick that and get that to sit a little flatter, and I'm going to iron it. And more than likely, I am going to put a cutting board on it to get this to lie nice and flat for me. I do not press open because I FMQ all my quilts. So I press to the side. I always press to the dark or to the side um, to get those seams to nest. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Tree's kind of cute. I'm going to have to fix that. But y'all have a blessed day. If you have any questions, just leave me a comment and I will make sure that we get the answer for you. Be kind. Bye.